Hello, the internet, and welcome to the series finale, apparently, of Let's Go Build a Bot. So this is episode 12 of 4. You can see what went wrong there. And if you haven't been following the series, we've basically been building a bot in GoLang, but that's been kind of a background task to actually just showing how I do development and how you might put together an application that is destined for the real world. So something that is maintainable, something that you can deploy nice and easily using sort of DevOps type methodologies and doing the whole thing in a very agile way. So we've put together something that initially just responded to standard in, standard out, then we tied in Discord, then we tied in some actions, and we fixed a few bugs. Then we shot off down a bit of a dead end trying to sort out double instances of the bot when it's doing its cutover when we do a release. At some point I will get that fixed. We've put a web backend on there. We've fired the whole thing up with a load balancer in AWS. And all this is controlled in the backend by our makefile, which is 54 lines long. And yes, I have just seen the last episode of Snowpiercer. Why do you ask? Anyway, last week, if you remember correctly, we did ourselves a nice little release where we did a bunch of refactoring, and it worked sort of. We ended up with this weird little thing that Alex rightly identified as probably just an empty embed in the message we're sending off. So I spotted this and decided that we needed to raise a bug for that. So we've got this fix empty embed. And once we've done that, we might try and get actions doing their own sends. We shall see. Like all great series finales, we're going to be ending on a cliffhanger, or at least just not finishing the story. Dev for this is going to continue beyond the end of this stream, although I may actually stream the rest of it under a different channel, which may or may get republished on this. Who knows, or dares to dream. So, issue number 22. Just checking everything's all right on the chat. A few people there saying hello to the few people there. Do shout if the music needs turning up a bit. I turned it down. I have picked industrial, which it claims to be. Where are we? Industrial, spooky, goth, and all things industrial, except I wouldn't put spooky or goth into the industrial genre, but yeah, that shows what I know. Anyway, yes, issue 22, we've got these empty things coming through. So when we do a send, we've got our Discord sender. So it's going to be related to the Discord stuff we're doing, and we are now sending a full outbound message. So I think what's happening is that because we've got an embed in there, it's probably going with an empty struct. Because things in Go have a zero value, and because it's just a plain struct, it'll probably have an embed with empty URL, empty title, empty description, empty color, so on and so forth. So we may want to put a little bit of code in here that just checks to see what's going on and uses the correct method for sending. So the Discord sender, let's just remind ourselves how it does it. It does a d.dispatch that message. Does a send string, going round in circles. That's the dispatcher. Where is the Discord specific? It's in this file. I know it is. There we are. There's our channel message send complex with our channel in there. Now, I reckon that we are I reckon we're just sending an empty in fact, I know we are. There we go. So this is going to be the problem. This is nice that this is a pointer because I can actually just set that to nil and that will solve this problem. So we're always going to have a message content, or are we? Let's just make sure. Let's turn around and say if message.message, I'm going to trim it. The reason we're going to trim it is I want to trap any kind of empty message. So if we got that, we will let's say that our m.content this space intentionally left blank. So at least we get something coming out. Now we want to do something about these embeds. So I think we probably need to build the embed up separately. Let's pull this out. Actually, I'm going to leave that there for reference. But we're going to want to do a whole bunch of stuff. So first of all, we want to take our embed. Let's just assign that here. Let's go embed. Is that? Nope. Is that? Dun, 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 and so if message embed dot title let's do this first. No, let's not. So I'm just debating where to actually do the changes. I'm going to do it here, message embed, a title, and we're going to again strings trim space on that. Is blank. Well, the cut and paste is not embarrassing. It's a one-time key for Bitbucket, I think. Good luck using it. This is why we have the one-time keys. But sadly, Bitbucket emails it to me rather than using 1Password. 1Password would have blanked my history and restored my... well, no, it couldn't have been. Because if I was cutting and pasting out 1Password, it would have cleared my clipboard and reset it. Anyway, where were we? Yes, we are trimming the space on this. And we're going to turn around and say that if this is the case, then we're going to set our embed.title. And we'll just set that to no title. And then we should at least get something coming up on our embed. And then we need to find a way if our embed is empty. So I think we'll put in a little helper function down here. We're just going to take one of these. And we need to check, so let's just do a switch on this. So case title I'm not ignoring Alex on his statement about one-time passwords. I'm not getting embroiled in that discussion during this particular stream. Join the Discord if you want to continue with that discussion. So, check if that's empty. And then we're going to check if that's not empty. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to drop through each of these. So we'll just put in all the tests. Strings.url. Oops. You probably don't need to trim space on the URL. We will anyway, just in case. People be funky like that. And we also want the description in there as well. Oops. And we also want to say if image and video are null. And then lastly, right, so in all these cases, we are not empty. So I'm not actually going to do anything with those. I'm just going to put a default here and say true. And then here we can return false. So what will happen here is it will match on one of these and do nothing, and then return true, or not match on any of them, sorry, return false, or not match on any of them and return true. So here, once we've built up our embed, that, if not empty, embed empty, embed, do that. So that should, in theory, he says, ensure that we don't get that nasty embed in there. I think that all looks okay. Let's just do a quick make on that. I'm not sure how loud the music's coming through for you, but this is certainly not industrial. Okay, that's all looking good, so let's commit that. We didn't, yes we did. Sadly, this is something we can only really test on the Discord side of things, because it is the Discord dispatcher. So fix number 22. Handle empty embeds. Put that in. Review that. Watch as that loads on the wrong web browser. We can close these two tabs. We've done those, they were last week. Right, let's have a look here. looks nice. We've just got to wait for that build to pass. While we're doing that, let's go and have a look at our other issues and pick something else. What did we say we were going to do? Actions should do their own sending. That was the other thing we said. So basically, at the moment, Discord is doing its sending, and the console output is doing its own sending. And I think what we should be doing actually is just having the actions themselves sorted. So rather than trying to send some kind of complex message back out and then try and munch them all together or whatever, we just send out whatever messages need to be sent by the various actions, and if they're not doing anything with it, just do nothing. And then I think the bot will probably just not report if it doesn't understand something that you've asked it to do, just to save it being a bit spammy. Although we could possibly add I didn't get that backdrop thing. We shall see. Let's stop building. Let's just actually make sure we have got a pipeline kicked off. Well, that says it was successful. Fantastic. Watch the spinny thing. Come on. There we go. Let's approve that. Merge that. So we can leave that in the background, building to main, and then I'll push out release in a couple of minutes. What we need to do now is done on that. And what was the issue number? 23. So, yeah, we have this idea of a sender that can do sending, but the dispatcher goes off and builds up a set of strings coming back from the actions, and then sort of sends them off, and that's, I don't think it should be that way. What I think it should do is here we will pass in the message sender and handle it, so we won't return a string. We'll just possibly won't even return an error, to be honest, because if the endpoint, if the action wants to report that something's gone wrong to the user, it should do so using the sender, and any errors we can log. So in fact, our the handlers may become even more simpler than they are at the moment. So Alexio says, all these people watching and no likes in the video. Go and smash the like button. I wonder if I can like my own video. So yes, where do we define the handler? I'm looking in the wrong place. We define it here. So we're saying a handler is one of these things. It handles a user channel message. Do we want to pass the sender in, or do we want to assume that the sender is already passed in? Well, certainly with the dispatcher currently, we say dispatch and we pass in the sender, so I think we probably want to pass the sender in to the action. Now we're going to run into a problem with the circular dependency. So at the moment, listener relies on actions. If I then say that actions needs to take a sender which is part of listener, we're going to run into problems. What we can do there, however, is hoik the sender out of listener and shove it into actions, because it's just going to be the actions that are using the sender thing, and that might make a little bit more semantic sense than than having the sender in a listener. It's a little bit sort of confusing to have something that listens and sends at the same time. There was also something that I think something else was called sender somewhere as well, possibly in the Discord stuff. I can't remember. There's the handlers in there. Don't know. Anyway, we can define our sender. No, yes, our sender. We can define that anywhere because it doesn't. Things just have to match that interface. We don't have to explicitly sort of import them or define them in the same package. So we can turn around and say that we've got this up here in our actions. And that'll sort that out. Just while it's doing that, let's go back here and see how we're doing with this. Let's pass. That's going to be v114. There we go. Right, so that's now in actions, and we can go off and start passing that in. So I'm going to say handler is going to use a message string. We've got an inbound message type now. Where did we put the inbound message type? So we might need to move that up. We might need to pull this out actually and create a new package. That's where the duplication is. We've got a sender who is a user, and a sender which is the thing that sends, which I'm not entirely keen on because we're using the word sender for two different things. We're overloading that particular thing, which is not a good idea. So we've got... Let's create a message package. Let's do that. This is my thinking here. So we're going to message. The sender's going to go off in there. Going to want a doc file. Let's say that package message. There we go. So now we can take the message and shove it in there. And then we can refactor this and just call it inbound, because the message part is now redundant. And this one we can just call outbound. Oops. Quite a lot more uses of this. It should be okay. Should be fine. The pilot will pick it up anyway. So, now we've got our inbound and our outbound. We've got our sender. We might want to change this to author. Yeah, that seems to be picking up the right one. Right, cool. So now we've got rid of that that conflict of naming. So our let's just make sure that actually still builds, because it might be at a point where I can commit here. No! Listener takes message. What the... because that one's a listener.user. Well, the user belongs to the message. So we can do that. Oops. Why weren't you picked up? Yeah. Now we just make it so it compiles. Spot the problem. I think I confused it there. Great stuff. So all we've done here is basically hoiked the stuff out into its own message package. That goes in there. Right, now we can turn around and say that our handlers are going to take a, and this is going to break the world, but that's why I did the commit beforehand. We're going to take an inbound, a message, inbound, and a message sender. The rest of it's fine. There we go. So that handler is now going to respond if necessary, and we no longer do this. So error should be logged and or reported to the user via just having a quick think here about what if the sender goes wrong. But the sender itself can log. Yeah, so the sender itself can handle all that. Error should be logged to the user via the sender. There we go. So that breaks world. Apart from that, that's actually going to be fine. So if we have a look at our basic ping endpoint, all of this is going to be absolutely fine because these are all just notionally implementing the handler, which we've now gone off and changed. If we make it, we'll see where it's broken. So the dispatcher is not happy. There we are. So here we now want to action.handle, and we're going to send in the message, because I think we've got an inbound message now. Yes, we have. So we've got our inbound message, and our sender S. There we go. We no longer care about this. We no longer care about this. We no longer care about this. Because of that, we're not logging anymore. Our content is not something we care about. So now all we're doing is we are checking that we are getting a message from a bot, in which case we return it. We're checking we've got the prefix. If we have, we return, and like that. So that has neatened up. Dispatch incoming message to the registered actions. And them to respond, if relevant, on the sender. Can't spell relevant. Which is why I've got spell checker turned on, because I can't spell most things. Now this will fail to build again, because... Oops. So first of all, our tester is whinging because these are no longer valid handlers, valid actions. So we need to change those up, but hopefully they should all just work. If I turn around and say we've got, at the moment it's just echo and error. So echo is particularly simple insofar as we get so this is going to be inbound. Let's just copy that thing off here. All we need to do here is just go sender.send inbound. Of course, can't do that. Being dumb. Alex, you've asked author. Is that questioning my choice of author, or was that popped up when I was wondering what to call it and you suggested author? I'm hoping it's the latter. If you're questioning why I've used author, then I don't know what to call it. Right, we need this to be an outbound message. Message.outbound, and fill in more fields. So the channel is going to be inbound.channel. The message is going to be inbound. Content. And we're not going to have an embed. Yeah. So this may mess up ever so slightly. The reason why I say that is because I think we did something with the I think we did something with the message. So I think we're going to have to do something with that content, which is probably just going to be author plus whatever. But we can sort that. Failed to echo a message. Given this handler is pretty basic, I'm not going to do any more reporting than that. I might, if it was a more complex thing, log the inbound message and see what's going on, but cool, Alex was suggesting author. Excellent suggestion. I didn't see it, but we'll pretend I did and used your suggestion. I won't tell if you don't. So that echo handler should now be good. The error handler may no longer be relevant because handlers no longer return errors. So this is an irrelevant test. So this is now an irrelevant action. Don't do that. Otherwise I will just go to the command line and use RM. Thank you. Right, so dispatcher test should now, let's have a look and see how this is working. Yeah, so we have this sort of output, and I think that's going to go wrong. Right, we need a different type of action here, because before we were looking at the length of the messages and seeing whether or not messages have been added to that message thing to be sent. We can't do that anymore. But what we can do is we can set up a counting handle, a mock handle, whatever you want to call it, that will basically just allow you to call whether or not it's got, or whether or not it's being called and how many times it's been called. Chris asks, are any tests relevant? No test, no failures. Yes, but I think what you're saying, there is no tests, no test failures. At that point your test becomes production, and you will have failures in production, and they tend to be embarrassing. Now I'm just putting together a little test bot and we can laugh off any errors and fix them up, but let's for sake of argument say that we're sending a $2 billion launch vehicle into orbit, and we decide that we're not going to test a piece of code because the output from this piece of code is not being run, and as you say, no tests, no failures, and the whole thing goes bang. And yes, Alex, I spotted the sarcasm, but other people might not. Tests are always a good thing, provided they're testing the relevant thing. Good luck working out what's relevant and irrelevant. I have once seen a piece of code that was 100% unit tested and it did not run, which was amusing to say the least. Right, so we need some kind of, what am I going to call it? Some kind of, actually we could just use the echo handler. Because we can turn around here and we can say that this has call count, which is an int, and just do e dot call count plus plus. There we go. So now, with our dispatcher test, what are we sending as our sender? When we dispatch that in, that's the mock client, that's why. And that should be doing. Oh, hang on. It's our mock client that we're seeing stuff on. Don't. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's just run these. Let's see what happens. Let's just make sure this one runs first, because this will tell us whether our interesting. We didn't strip the Ah, of course. End dot content equals strings dot trim prefix end dot content. And there we go. So off that goes. So if I rerun this now, I should still get it failed, but it'll just be some amusing message. Yes. So that's how we're doing that. So handle the chat message by going back the message details. So now our message becomes format.sprintf %s, and we're going to take inbound dot channel inbound dot author content. Right, let's try that again. Message passed. So we can now go have a look at these other ones. Where we are. Let's go around for the all the subtests. Great, all passes. So our handlers that we've updated now deal with sending the messages themselves. However, we're still not going to build because this bit here. The other handlers have not been updated. But before we do any more on that, let's just whiz across to here and do show status. I mean, yes, but also no. I did think that might happen, and I looked at it and thought it would be okay. Okay, we can fix that. That's not a problem. Some of my logic is gone wrong. But at least we know the thing's picking it up. We'll sort that in a second, probably just as part of this. So yes, these all need to be migrated, which should be easy enough. So first of all, more. Let's go to our echo. Just grab this. Go here, and we're going to handle it like this. So we're going to check that our inbound.content is more, and here we're going to say just need to send string, don't want to do anything fancy here. Inbound.channel and regard, and then we no, I assure you that is correctly spelled. New machine, new dictionary. We want to be there. Failed to increment more counter. Juke. I'll do it this way around. message, not an error message. Failed to tell the user about it. Just going to change this out of a switch statement because we're not doing much more now. So what we can do is just turn around and say that if that is not equal to more, just return. So now we're in the happy path. That can go out. Get that back in like that. What do we actually print out? What I might do here is just say the message is equal to that. And then I'm going to say that in this case we're going to just overwrite the message with this, and then we'll just send the message. Failed to send more message. Great, so that's the more handler sorted. The ping handler will be suitably similar. Yes, it is. So here we want to do a similar sort of thing. We're just going to turn around and say message. Oops, and program. So we're going to take a message. This is going to be inbound dot content. So if it's ping, we're going to say message is equal to pong. If it's pong, we're going to say message is equal to that. If it's default, we're just going to return. Oops. And then just thinking about shoving a utility function here. No. To send ping message. And that will fit up here, will it? Yes, it will. Look at that. So that's that sorted. Just status to do. Oops. Let's build that up later. So this now becomes inbound dot content. Do nothing here. Actually, no, we will do the stuff there. We'll build that up. we will send it. So you just become a return. You become that. Just a message. Cool. So we should now make them. Not quite. Ah, yes, our tests. And the status test will probably die as well. So this now becomes an inbound message. We're just going to use Chan. Bing. We can just handle the message. We don't need an error. We don't have a message coming out. But we will have a sender, and we can use the standard out sender. Console. Don't think that means anything, does it? No, because we're not dispatching. So we can do that. Sort those in a bit. Just make sure that this actually works. It's going to want us to do those as well. Let's oops. And what about a handler test? No, that's fine. Run that again. Did I copy and paste that wrong? Well, not copy and paste it even more. So that's working. Great stuff. So we can now just migrate these tests. GoLang tests don't have a mock interface because we don't need a mock interface. It's very, very easy to mock things out because you're just asking for something that has an interface. So you can turn around and just pass in your mock type. This is just Alex asking. GoLang tests don't have mock interface. It's pretty much irrelevant. You just create your own mock type very, very easily, which is what some of the I think they've all gone now, but we did at one point have that error test, which was just a little thing that you could chuck in because it matches the interface. It can be used. Right, so we're going to do a similar thing here. So I'm going to want another listener, well, a different sender actually. So in fact we'll put it in message. But so this is actually going to be, I just built a mock interface. Not really. I just implemented an interface, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to have a mock sender. Actually, I might just put it in sender. So we're going to have type mock sender. It's going to be struct, just going to be empty. No, it's not going to be an empty struct. It's going to have a set of messages. Memory sender. So it's going to have a set of outbound messages, and then we can just implement these two. Oops. Hold on, memory sender. All of that. Send the outbound message. Send string wraps. Sned send. M.send. So this is going to be channel, and this is going to be a message. Pull these two up here. And then this one can just do m.messages as append. Message like that. So we don't need to declare this as a mock or a spy or anything like that, because Go literally doesn't care. We can now go to our ping test, and we can take this, shove this here. This is now going to be on Pong. This is going to be sender dot. Message dot. Memory sender, and then we're not going to have any errors. So we don't need that. That's going to come out. P.dot handle. Oops. Message yes. So that's not a case, and now we can do this where we say s dot messages, and we want the length of that. One, we have a single response, and then this is going to be s dot messages 0. There we go. That's not needed anymore. So we literally don't care that that particular sender has other stuff that we've baked into it, because we're just going to send it in as a sender and it matches that particular type, and because we've defined it up here, S is going to be a memory sender. We wouldn't be able to do this s.messages if we'd passed in this as a plain sender, because that would have hidden things. So if I turn around and said that this was a message.sender, can I do that? No. Let's do this then. That causes us problems, because now I've erased a whole bunch of information that memory sender adds. So we don't have messages on there anymore. But this way, we're absolutely fine. Handle sees that as a sender, doesn't care, and then we can do all kinds of stuff. There we go. So this should hopefully run. And it does, excellent. So we can take this particular construct, we can say that, and in fact all we want to do now is check that the messages are empty. So if then stop messages is not equal to 0, and then we can ooh. That'll be because no, that won't be because we should have returned there. Oh, it'll be because I haven't updated this. There we go. So that's that set of tests doing, and then status as well. We'll need to do something similar with that. So that's going to be similar to this. Oops. This one. So this is going to be very similar. Honestly, we can just use the same message. So in theory, if I go run all of these, interesting. Second time I've made that mistake in the past 5 minutes. That's better. Now, how are we going to handle this? We are going to have to make it Oh, I know how we can do it. We're going to have to make it a proper test, I think. So this example thing works well, but I'm going to leave it in there as an example because that'll go into the documentation, but it's not going to be good for a test because now we're wanting to actually check the output in more detail than just it should be this, and that nanosecond time will not work. So we are going to t.run status, and we are going to shove a case statement in there. Modify that in a bit, and hopefully remember to actually modify it. This now becomes status doink status, and then we want a bunch of other things here where s.message is 0. Ask if it's got a prefix of, and I'm just going to say here expected is that. So now we're just asking that we're asking that it just matches the beginning of that. We don't care about the nanosecond stuff afterwards. So this is a unexpected response from status. It's going to be an error F. It's going to be that. So I've confused it a bit there. I told it to rerun the failed test, but that failed test was this one here, and that is no longer a test because I've taken the output out, so it's no longer executable. So let's just rerun them all again. There we go. Why have you... Status. We were obviously relying on something that the sender used to do. So this is now slightly... why are we getting a colon on this end? Ah, we probably don't have that in. That'll be why. Did we previously? Yes. Let's actually set the thing properly. Yay! Right, so that all works, and it should now. Compile. However, we do have some Linter problems, right, so memory sender just stalls. Trailing new line, yes it does. Ping has a trailing new line, yes it does. Doesn't end with a white space or a comment. Oh, I know why. It's from the new line. I get 2 errors on that particular thing. There we go. So that is now building. So let's commit that. This is number 23. Handlers now send their own messages. Ooh. That's no longer a thing. Why did the linter not pick that up, I wonder? Don't know. Let's try that again. Cool. The linter may not have picked it up because it was a public thing. It made me think that something else may use it. Odd. Anyway, pretty sure that the linter has whinged previously when that's been the case. Anyway, that's all set. Now, the one thing I wanted to do very quickly while we've still got, rather than sending 2 things off to release, our Discord sender is I don't think we need that line anymore because we're checking that it's not empty. And if our embed has something in it, we might not actually want to have a title. Just my thinking anyway. Let's just do that. Number 22. Default title for embeds. Put that in there. Let's just make sure we're still good. Yes, we are. Let's review that. Yo-Yo to Ronaldo's as well. Opening in the wrong browser window. Let's watch that go out. So these are basically just the changes that we've done in to the actions and to the handler. They all look reasonably sensible. Big addition because we had to recreate that test. That's handling things more better, so we're not building up the state of the state of stuff for no reason. Cool. I like to see big blocks of red like that. Deleted code is good code. Deleted code is code that can't go wrong. I mean, you may still have surrounding bits of code that rely on it or relied on something you did and they can still go wrong, but deleted code itself cannot go wrong. Let's just see whether that's built. Well, that's worrying. I'm now looking at the YouTube stream, which is a little bit behind. It actually shows that I'm not connected to the internet, so I beg to differ. I was connected to the internet. I think I have problems with my Wi-Fi thing, and I desperately need to set it up with a decent Wi-Fi unit, not the default router that my ISP sent me. Because I swear it drops new connections. Existing connections like the stream seem to be fine, but new connections sometimes seem to get dropped. Anyway, it's not built yet. Your watch status never updates. Should be here soon though, because that particular pipeline was run 3 minutes ago. What's going on? That still didn't push to ECL. It does make me laugh when I whinge about my pipelines taking 3 to 5 minutes to do everything, and then I have people who go, "Oh, it's taken an hour to run." Sadly, if you start doing full end-to-end testing and full smoke testing and huge sets of data get involved, the length of time this stuff takes to run just spirals out of control sometimes. Thankfully not the case for this particular build. I shall just shake my fist at the fact that it's taking 4 minutes to build. Oh, I did drop off for a bit. So maybe I wasn't connected to the internet. And then it buffered that bit and then sent the bit that I wasn't connected to the internet. Apologies. You would think that I would actually shove a cable into these, but hindsight and all of that, what is going on here? I do wish there was visibility of those warnings, because I've got to update a whole load of things to update that push image, and it's only because I've just come over here to have a look that I spotted that particular warning. Right, let's approve you. Let's merge you. Merge. And just in case any of this was lost when I dropped off for a little bit, all I was doing was trying to get this thing to build. Well, I say trying to get it to build, sitting here waiting for it to build. It was doing it itself. So hopefully, when that goes up, everything will still work, and it'll work more better without the weird embed stuff below it. Let's go have a look and see what's happening with what else we've got, because we've got 40 minutes. Do we have something quick? Listen out for concurrent instances is the one that we got thoroughly stuck with. I would like to fix that, but it's probably going to involve me doing a bunch of reading, and me doing a bunch of reading is not fun watching. Shutdown command would be nice and easy. I'm just wondering whether Alex will abuse it or not. Of course Alex will abuse it. However, I can make it so it ignores him. I've got an idea. Yes, let's do this. Right, so. Oops. So we're going to add two handlers to this particular thing. The first one is going to be a let's take the simplest handler that we can copy. The first one is going to be an ID handler. What are we going to do with the ID? Let's just go with a suitably large enough random number. The chances of them colliding are 1 in whatever I decide the number is. Don't have ID.id, but I'm probably going to have to. Anyway, let's just do that. So we want an init, which is done like that. The reason why I cut and paste code all over the place is my memory is shot, has been for a long time. And I'm doing sort of similar things. Ooh, now here's an idea. Here is an idea. Maybe I don't need the ID handler. While you're doing that, I'm going to have a look over here. Actually, yes, let's do it by version. Let's do it by version. And we don't need an ID handler or anything like that, so we can do, there we are, the shutdown handler. So this is going to need to be a slightly more complex one. No, it doesn't need to be. Could just take the cheap and simple one. Take you, shove you there. You're now a shutdown handler. Because they all go out and they're all versioned. Basically, we just want something with a particular version to go down. So this is going to be S and shutdown. And I will need to get my sender ID. What is that going to look like, I wonder? I may need to do 2 releases of this. Yes, Alex, I could do UR equals UUID.newv4, but I'm actually looking at something that I can type. I don't want to have to copy and paste huge long UUIDs. I was being lazy, very lazy. And also I wouldn't import the GoUID thing. I've got a UUID function somewhere that's very, very easy to write. Just cut and paste it in. Anyway, we don't need that. We can do it on the version number. So, what's the message going to look like? The message is going to look like shutdown and then a version number which will be v n. So let's actually we don't even care about the v n. We can just turn around and say if string not strings dot has prefix shutdown. So if we're not the shutdown handler, or if not a shutdown message, oops, bound dot content, we just return. We can also say that the version is strings dot trim prefix. That. Let's also get rid of spaces. Strings dot trim space. That should give us our version number. And then if v is not equal to, and I'm probably going to want the settings in here. Yes, I am. Config dot. Oh, no, I don't need the settings. Config.build version. Return off there. So this will only match if we are saying shut down the particular build version that we are. The last check, if Alex has so I missed the other bits of Alex's chat. Alex has said ignore me, and yes, ignores you, or more specifically only listens to me, because I've seen what you do to my bot when you can shut it down, and it's not pleasant. So the last thing is the user ID. Now let's go have like a Discord and see if I can that's my username. Is that the same as my user ID? Ooh, there's a developer mode. So I need to go into settings. And then appearance, developer mode. I feel all very developer-y now. For a user ID, right-click their username. Copy ID. There we go. So if inbound dot author dot ID is not equal to that, just rolls off the tongue, that does. Return. Now we want to send a message out just to a shutdown message, and what we're going to send, we are going to send Dave. What are you doing, Dave? Because, just because. And then system dot. Oops, no, it's not. os.exit 1. Actually, let's give it 0 exit code. Goodbye, bot. And that should work. Excellent. Let's add that in. Because this will at least temporarily handle the concurrent bot issue. So let's fix number 10. Add shutdown command. And Alex had found my snowflake apparently. You can shush. Can't tell the difference between Alex and the well-known brand of Amazon smart assistants. Yes, your snowflake ID is, and I'm not copying that out verbosely. I've got the developer mode on there now. But thank you for looking that up. And I don't know why seeing snowflake triggers me. It just does. I thought he was calling me a snowflake. I'm not a number. Unless I'm in a database, in which case I probably am a number with a bunch of other columns telling me other information. This bodes. I have no idea why that keeps pulling off to the wrong window, but put it in here. Apologies if I dropped off again, I don't know whether I did or not. That push took an awfully long time, which just smacks of the internet hiccuping. So one nice, very simple shutdown script. Did we tag a new version? We didn't. So we can send both of these off at the same time and shut down the old version when they've gone off. Snowflakes are an alternative to UUID, says Alex. You can discover them. You can discover account creation time from them. They're pretty cool. Now, is that a bad pun on the fact that snowflakes are cold? Tish. Incidentally, the whole world of UUIDs, GUIDs, and CUIDs, I think they are CUIDs, is quite interesting insofar as the algorithm for UUIDs didn't really take into account the fact that things have become quote-unquote web scale. So you can actually now have collisions with UUIDs, whereas the collision space was quite small before. It's becoming larger because of the amount of things that's been done at once. And there's been a bunch of different ways to try and avoid this. And there's, I think it is CUID, which is this GUID, this basically highly concurrent UUID type. It's a very interesting field to look into because you can't actually be reliant on things being as unique as you think they are. Unless you start baking in information you don't particularly want to bake into the ID. Now, in the case of the snowflake, the fact that you can get the creation time out is probably very deliberate, and it's not a piece of information that you care about leaking, and in fact could probably be used to validate a user. By turning around and looking at the details and saying, does this snowflake ID match other things that we know about the particular user? A bit like a Lund check on a credit card. Also just trying to work out how far behind the stream is. Well, not too bad. Because once this has gone out, we can release it, and then we can make sure that we've actually got a working bot with no little niggles, and then we can call it series done. Rather than leaving it on a cliffhanger, which I have done in previous episodes, whereas that they're going, well, it's broken. I'd prefer not to do that this time. Come on. That seems to have done now. Cool. Let's approve that. Let's merge that. And wait for that to build again, then we can do a release, and then we can check that all of this has worked. And if not, fix it very quickly. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to check, does this still think that we are playing industrial? Yes. I wouldn't class this as industrial. So once this build's gone up, we can tag it, and Alex is saying hillbilly industrial. If you're going to class industrial as something that uses lots of samples, perhaps. But the drum beat's too boppy, for starters. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's not what I would class as industrial. I mean, I did notice that there was a, was it a bluegrass? Polka. Which I didn't pick because I didn't want to be laughing my head off through the entire stream. And there's also, where is it? Epic, which is cinematic, orchestral, and pirate shanties. Now I'm guessing that is cinematic music, orchestral music, and pirate shanties, not cinematic shanties, orchestral shanties, and pirate shanties. And again, I mean, to be honest, if I could just limit that to the pirate shanties, I probably would have done. So the plan after this stream, I know for the Norfolk developers streams, we've got a new series starting with someone new doing React Native, which I encourage you to all come along and watch. As for me, I am half planning to go off and create my own weekly stream to continue doing stuff like this, because this has been really useful for me just to spend some time doing side projects. Otherwise I end up making excuses, and it's hard to make excuses when you have the expectation of the internet, regardless of whether the internet actually shows up or not. The expectation of the internet is a nice motivator to come along and actually spend some time doing some code. And I've got a whole bunch of side projects I want to complete, and a whole bunch of other ones I want to actually do. So the plan with that is probably going to be on Twitch, and it'll be a series of, I don't know how I'm going to work this yet, but it's going to be Dom Does. And for this particular thing, it'll be Dom Does Code, but there may also be Dom Does Lego, and Dom Does Gaming. We'll see. Like I say, it's all a bit nebulous at the moment. But by putting it out there, hopefully that will encourage me to make it less nebulous and actually put it into action. And then I'll need to work with Alex to pick a time where we don't clash with the Norfolk developer things, so that we don't pull viewers away from the Wednesday streams. So we'll look at that. Hey, that's built. Let's tag that. So that's not 115. Now, incidentally, one of the things I haven't said before on these streams, I don't know if it's been said by Alex and Sean and previous people who've streamed, we are always on the lookout for interesting presentations, interesting ideas to stream, what have you, so you are more than welcome to pitch ideas for talks, pitch ideas for streams, well, Alex will tell you the best way to pitch on the chat, and send them along, and if they are interesting topics, then we will invite you along to speak. We have regular Thursday online at the moment meetings where we tend to look at a fixed chunk of technology, so we'll do a particular talk on various things that have gone on. And my mind is completely blanked on the one that's happening on the 8th, and I seem to remember it had a fun title. Let's go and do the do. Not a dev. That's it. Flutter 2, here, there, and everywhere. So that's happening on the 8th, and 2 weeks later, should you consider Rescript over TypeScript for your next project? And yeah, we have all kinds of interesting stuff that goes on the Virtual Social Club as well, if people want to come along. And then, like I said, the Wednesday streams are going to be React Native 4Kit, which I suspect is a pun or play on words, and pretending to be slightly rude. But yes, we welcome speakers of all abilities and experience. We just ask that you have something interesting to pass along. It can be quite a good platform to sort of get into speaking if you've not done public speaking before. Your initial few things are terrifying, but the more you do it, the more relaxed you get, the more you get into it, and basically the better you become. And you often find that people don't realise they have interesting things to speak about. For example, I had one person come up to me who said he wanted to do a talk about the dark web, and wasn't sure if other developers would find it interesting. And I went, "Are you kidding? Most developers in the room will go, 'The dark web? You've been there? Tell us more.'" I certainly would have gone to that talk. So you never know, your idea may be very interesting to us. And we've had all kinds of stuff on all kinds of different things. And then thinking out to sort of broader topics where I've seen people talk, I've seen people do threading and multi-threading using crochet. So literally multi-threading. You can do all kinds of fun things. I believe Norfolk Developers has had flying unicorns before making games. We've certainly had other people making games on retro gaming systems, which was fantastically interesting. Thank you, Kev. But yes, please do submit ideas. As I've said before in previous streams, we are a community group, initially based in Norfolk, but given the current global situation, we went online and have become somewhat global. So people from all around the world have dropped in and said hi, and we are probably planning on keeping a lot of our events online when the world goes back to normal, just because it's got that larger sort of group that we can reach. We'll still do in-person things, but they will probably be more restricted to, they're probably more social things. So Alex is pulling up the information about Discord. We have our Discord server. You can go along, prod the bot, do all the mean things, try and work out where the bugs are, and just generally come along and chat, hang out. We've got a very vibrant channel there, lots of people talking about lots of different stuff, ranging from random day-to-day rubbish to a discussion about whether or not JavaScript has a proper int as a type. Fantastic argument there that I had, where two of us were arguing exactly the right thing, but didn't realise that we were arguing slightly different things. Much hilarity ensued when we discovered that that was the case. And we have a whole bunch of people who are experts in a whole bunch of different technologies, so there's generally someone who can answer questions if you're there. because we are a community-supported group, our income used to come from a conference. Conferences aren't really a thing at the moment, and if they are, they tend to be expensive because setting them up online is actually quite difficult. When the conference used to run, the tickets were remarkably cheap for the quality of content that you get in. The speakers that were attracted were really quite good, and ticket prices were just ridiculously cheap. But that was where all our income came from, and of course we haven't been able to run these conferences, so we have nothing coming in terms of income apart from some very kind sponsors, and also our Patreons, who we are massively indebted to. They were listed up at the beginning of the channel. I used to have a Patreon slide, and then I took it out because my old machine used to struggle massively with this stream, and I just took out all unneeded scenes in order to try and get it to somehow cope. But yes, we do have a good list of them, and if you want to help support videos like this and the other events that we put on, your input would be most welcome. Your contribution would be most welcome. We're also on the Twitters at Norfolk Dev, and of course we're on the YouTubes where you're watching us down. And if you are watching, well, of course you're watching this on YouTube, just go slam the subscribe button, ding the bell button, do all the other internety type things. So I'm just looking up. Yes, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, Alexio. Make him happy by adding the likes. Like I said, I do this for my own personal benefit. It's useful to spend some time doing these coding projects, and it's actually useful just to talk things through, because you get to start thinking about what is that particular thing I'm doing. But he seemed very upset about the lack of likes, so let's keep our viewers happy. Right, so we should now be able to show status, and we've got 2 of them, and one of them's come back with an empty. Well, that's very annoying. Show shutdown v0.1.14. Did I mess up there as well? Now I'm terribly confused. Yep, I am massively confused. I know why that's happened. I am a doofus. If you're playing along at home, guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to wire in the handler. So the question is, what actually went off and sent that blank message? Do we have something hanging around that's doing weird things? It's going to be in that. No, it's going to be in the dispatcher. That's going to go through and send to all the handlers. And the only handlers that we had registered prior to that were the ping, and the status. Have I messed up one of those? So ping should have just returned without sending. More. Should have just returned without sending. Status should have returned without sending. Yeah, I'm very confused. Which means we are going to be leaving this on a cliffhanger, because there's no way this is going to get built and deployed in time. However, we might be able to just work out what's gone wrong with the Discordy sending bits. So I've turned around and I've said if it's empty, shove it in there. Again, doofus. I left that in there for reference and never took it out. I haven't spotted that. Let's just refer to that quickly to message. Oops. Cancel that. Shove that through there. This can now be just a message. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Right, okay, that's going to fix up the problems that we've had with Shutdown not working and that trailing trailing in bed. That was 22. Get rid of that, and this is going to fix this one. Actually, wire in the shutdown command. Commit that. Watch as this appears in the wrong window. And shove it over here. Excellent. Will it release in 4 minutes? Will it shove? So we've only got one of them left. If I do that, So I think I may have fixed that. Remember, I went and made a couple of other changes. So oh, did I? Yes, I think I did. So I think I may have already fixed that thing there, because that was 114 that was, sorry, 114 that was causing that issue, and it's 115 that we want to go out. So that's not doing anything unexpected now. I am no longer confused. So we'll try and not end this on a massive cliffhanger. And I will overrun ever so slightly and give you some bonus minutes where we watch this release and hopefully watch it work. Because it would be nice not to end on a massive cliffhanger. And the reason why I'm not just approving this and merging it and shoving it up is because the apologies if I dropped off there. So it seems my internet is struggling today. The reason why I am not just shoving this through with the build not passed is because the build can't actually do some things concurrently. It's using pipelines. And it's using pipes within those pipelines, and I don't think you can run those pipes concurrently, so it'll actually cause builds to fail. Also, the amount of times I've just turned around and shoved things up for the CI to kick off and gone, it'll be fine. What I've done is so simple, nothing can go wrong, and then the build has failed because of something monumentally stupid. So I tend to not like pushing these things through faster than they should be. Interestingly enough, this is pipeline number 100. So we've done 100 sort of updates or releases in the space of effectively 24 hours, which is not too bad. The other thing to note is the way that this has been developed is very much an iterative approach that I tend to take with all software, insofar as what may be produced and released might not actually go all the way out to production, but what you're doing is just showing progress that has been made, and whether it does what's expected and what it is doing. And so you can start demonstrating this to the business, the clients, whoever it is that you're writing the code for, so that they can actually see full progress, and they can make comments, ask questions, and sometimes those questions come from left field. So I used to write trading software, and we were writing some software for interest rate swaps, and it was quite a nice Java swing application. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it was well written, and it actually looked like a Windows app. And we were really careful to make sure that the UI was nice and well laid out and sort of pretty much pixel perfect. And I'd put a little status indicator down at the bottom right hand corner as to whether the thing was connected to the server or not. And one of the traders, we were showing it to them, literally days after I stuck it in, we did a review every 2 weeks. One of the traders asked, what is that for? And I said, it's just a little status indicator. It tells you whether you're connected to the server or not. And his immediate response was, make it bigger. Now, I didn't want to make it bigger because that would have made it look ugly. But it very quickly became apparent that the reason why he wanted it to be bigger was because he wanted to know straight away if the server got disconnected, which kind of makes sense when you taken into account that these are sort of electronic trades, and the traders need to know that all the information they got is up to date. So rather than making it bigger, which was his suggestion, I addressed the problem entirely, and when the server got disconnected, a really big dialog box came up and told you the server has been disconnected. And it was modal because there was nothing they could do, because the server had become disconnected, so they would just click OK and wait for it to reconnect, but that way we know that they've been told about it, and they went away happy. So like I say, these things can come from the weirdest of places. One of the other requests we got for that same application was the ability to have Ludicrous font sizes configurable, so the main display was a table, and they wanted each row to be configurable individually, because they really only cared about one instrument, and so they wanted that big and in some weird colour that would catch their eyes, whereas the other ones would be a lot smaller. So you might find that you've got something that is 48-point Comic Sans purple in the middle, just so that they can see it and be sure that that's what they're interested in. And the other thing was we provided sounds for alerts, and very quickly they said they needed customizable sounds, because on a busy trading floor where you've got several hundred traders, if you've all got the same alert sounds, it becomes very difficult to work out whether it's your machine that's gone ding or not. Something we're all very familiar now with. You have no idea whose phone has gone ding to say you've got a message, or whose Discord has gone ding to say you're getting messages. Something which amusingly happens even now that we're remote, because people can hear other people's Discords over the speakers, and it plays out. So again, we made those changes, and they all came from just showing very simple features every couple of weeks, and sometimes progress wasn't great. We had to explain why progress has not been great and the problems that you've encountered. This version 1.16, and they can update expectations on their side as well, because we're now a week behind or whatever, or 2 weeks behind. Why has Alex said hummus? Yeah, you could turn around and say you're behind, and they build in that kind of expectation and that kind of delay. I'm very confused as to why Alex has said hummus. Now I need to wait for him to actually catch up with the bit in the stream where I ask him. Oh, the Slack notification tone. Gotcha. I did not know that. See, it's a learning experience for me as well. Right, I've come to the conclusion that this playlist is actually quite short, because we're back to the hillbilly stuff. Does it say how many tracks are in it? Oh no, it's just bad RNG. 281 songs, 19 hours. I do not believe I've overrun by 19 hours. That's not want. So this is now releasing. We've been reasonably quick in getting this thing out. It's only 5 minutes overrun. Think of it as the bonus after credits bit. And then hopefully we should be able to tell the errant version 0.1.15 to die, and the glorious and fully functional version 0.1.16 will remain and not be buggy. And then I can actually go add some real commands to it. But you can take what I've done now, fork it, add your own commands to do stuff, and do whatever you want basically. And get it to do all kinds of interesting things. Alex says that the Slack notification tool tone is amazing, and it makes Slack worthy of install. I'm not sure I would go that far. It's good as notification tones go. Interesting type knocking type sound. seem to recall Alex not enjoying Slack that much and taking us off to Discord. I guess horses for courses. Discord is much better for a community, whereas Slack is better for a workplace environment. Come on, you can do this. Alex is asking, have I heard it? I thought you were talking about the default notification tone. No, you are not allowed to do that. Let's give a little bit more. Why are you not playing from the beginning? But yes, it is just a lady saying the word hummus. I mean, yes. We'll have to start sending you more Slack messages if that's what it's going to say every single time. Let's go with something slightly different for the last couple of minutes. Let's go back to synthwave. Let's kill you. Let's go back to here. Apparently it's only set on certain Slacks. We will need to arrange it so that I can make that sound happen in Alex's house regularly. Maybe another project. Post him a Raspberry Pi with a speaker attached to it. Have that thing connect to the Internet Explorer endpoint that you can call and make the word hummus appear in Alex's house. And then tell the internet about it. Because we know full well that the internet will go off and do the proper things with that. Right, we're released. There's only one of us up at the moment. I say us, one of the bot. So it's just going to take a few more seconds for Fargate to finish doing its thing. There we are, they're both up. So now let's say Astro, and it is working now without the thing. Shutdown. 0.1.15. I was expecting a response from that. Maybe it shut down too quickly. No, they're both still up. Okay, the next question is the V added by me? It seems to be ignoring me. That's something I'll have to go check and just see what the user ID that it's getting and everything is, so I can put some debug in that. But we're now getting the proper status messages out. What am I doing? I have no idea. If I knew what I was doing, this would all work. Anyway, we're going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching along. Like I say, do all the internet things and bash the likes. I will be around on the internet in various places. If you like hearing me witter on, I've got a talk repository on GitHub. So GitHub Dom Davis talks. And I will see you, but as a viewer, next week, where we learn about React Native. So thank you so much, the internet.